Hello boys and girls, today is November 12th. Welcome back to Learning with Louie. We will start learning now. All right boys and girls, how are you guys doing here on this Friday? We're going to go ahead and start getting learning here. First we have our letter of the day, and our letter of the day is J. J, and that is for jet, like a plane. Okay, so there's a jet there. Jets go really, really fast. Okay, you see them in the sky, flying all around. Sometimes you see them go faster than what a normal plane looks like. Very, very fast. Okay, so our letter of the day is J. Again, for jet, jet. J, the letter of the day. Right? So the next item we have is our number of the day. And our number of the day, if yesterday was 10 on Veterans Day, then 11 is going to be our number of the day. Okay? Now 11, things that I can think about for 11 is maybe a gas station you guys might know, 7-Eleven, right? Would be one. I don't know, look around, see if there's anything that might be 11. Usually you may see ducks crossing the road. There might be a total of 11 of them that are crossing the road, but keep an eye out for these two double digits right here, which is 11, okay? And that's the number of the day. All right, so our friendly friend of the day is, I said that they were crossing the road, ducks, all right? So this is a baby duck here, all right? And you'll see these guys running with their mothers or their fathers, sometimes going across the road or in a pond. They're all kind of together. You usually see them like the mother's the real big one, and then all small little ones kind of trickle back behind her. So that is our friendly friend of the day. All right, boys and girls, so we have, let's read about Mr. George Washington. All right, so let's see what's going on with George Washington. George Washington was our first president of the presidency, okay? And he is actually on the quarter. If you look on a quarter, that is Mr. George Washington. So here we go. George Washington was born in Virginia, 1732. At that time, Virginia was one of the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies belonged to the country of England, all right? There's Mr. Washington right there on the horse. Young George grew up on a farm. He loved to ride horses and catch fish. So you see him here on the horse. Looks like he might have been a racer on the horse, or just how the drawing is. George had many brothers and sisters. He looked up to his older brother, Lawrence. Lawrence was a soldier. He fought for England. George also wanted to be a soldier one day. He's taking in his brother's footsteps, keeping it tradition and in the family. George did not go to school. Wow, he didn't go to school. He was taught at home. George practiced his handwriting by copying rules of good manners into a book. Interesting. So here's his good manners book right here. And he kind of had his own little journal and figured out, well, let me go ahead and just write things down. That's how I'll probably remember. And if you look right here, this is one thing that we learned is ink. So he's dipping in the feather with the ink here, and that's how he's going to write his stuff for his homework. Here's all of the pens. This is how I were back then. All right, it's not like how we have it today where there's ink inside a little pen. They actually had to dip it into ink. At age 16, George went to live with Lawrence. Their farm was called Mount Vernon. George rode horses and hunted foxes. He danced at parties and practiced his good manners. He had never been happier. So you see him there dancing. Looks like that's his brother right there, young George Washington. All right. At age 17, George had a very important job. He measured land using special tools. The land of America was still new. People needed to know where the rivers, forests, and mountains were. George did his job very well. He loved the land. George grew into a tall, strong man. In 1753, he became a soldier. So you see him here? So he was a fighter, he was a soldier. Oh, here he is right here. At that time, England and France were fighting over America. Both of these countries wanted to own this new land. George fought bravely for England. In the end, England won. So you see George already knowing how to ride horses. He's on a horse there. Life as a soldier was very hard. George was happy when it was time to go home, but he did not go back alone. In 1759, George married Martha Custis. Have a nice little private wedding there. Martha and her 2 children moved to Mount Vernon. George spent the next 16 years working as a farmer. Interesting. Didn't know that. Then in 1775, George was called to war again. This time he would fight against England. What? He's gonna fight against the country that he fought for? The 13 colonies of America wanted to be free. The people asked George Washington to lead them in the war against England. George did not think he was the right man for the job, but he knew he had to try. So they basically put him on the spot. You're gonna go to war with us, buddy. England was a very strong country. The war went on for many years. George and his soldiers were often cold, tired, and hungry, but they would not give up. With George as their leader, the colonies won their freedom in 1783. They called themselves the United States of America. Americans now had to vote for a person to lead their new country. The choice was easy. George Washington became the first president on April 30th, 1789. George Washington was a peaceful man who loved the land. He had never wanted to be a leader, but he served America both in war and in peace. As our first president, he is known as the father of our country, Mr. George Washington. So let's read about George Washington. That is the story of the day. That is by Kimberly Weinberger and is illustrated by Bob Doucette. All right, boys and girls, so welcome back, and we're going to review what we learned today. First, we're going to go ahead and start with the letter of the day. If you guys remember, the letter of the day was J. Do you remember what it was for? I'll give you a clue. It's right there. Or it's right here. So J is for jet. Okay? So the letter of the day is J. All right. Our number of the day was 11. 11. Remember I said if you are driving down, or if your parents are driving down the road and see a duck along with maybe 10 other ducklings, then that's a total of 11 right there. All right, so 11, the number of the day. And our friendly friend of the day is exactly that. Those little guys crossing the road, okay? Here's the duck. Mr. Duck is your friendly friend of the day. All right, and that leads us to the book. Our story time of the day was our very first president of the United States, Mr. George Washington. Again, this one is by Kimberly Weinberger and it's illustrated by Bob Doucette. All right, Mr. George Washington. So that is the review of what we learned today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, boys and girls, so thank you for chiming in here with Learning with Louie on this Friday. So enjoy your guys' weekend. I will be back on Monday. Don't forget to hit the like button, the share it if you can, get notified of it, and subscribe too. Okay. Hope you guys liked it. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy some time off, and soak in some of the stuff that we learned this week. We'll get right back to it on Monday. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.